All right, let's keep going here. Keep on trucking. So I was mentioning the Trojan. The logic bomb, usually you'll see that as a question on the exam. And typically what this is maybe you'll have something like a disgruntled employee who is anticipating that they're going to get let go, or maybe they think their job sucks and they want to go ahead and based off of something happening, something predetermined, they will create a piece of code that's looking for an if-then-else statement. So logic statement. And what does that mean? That means that if Kelsey wants to leave Bed Bath & Beyond, she is a disgruntled employee. She writes a logic bomb that if she does not log in each day at noon, that the logic bomb kicks off and deletes all accounts on the corporate network. That's just a scenario of what could happen. Essentially, it's an event that's triggered based off of a predetermined task. One of the cool things here that you may have heard of before is this top one, a botnet. And if you're not familiar with that, then I'll try to go through and explain that. So a botnet has a couple of different things going on here. It'll have all of these little bots that are over here, each one of these, that have an agent that is running on them. And this botnet herder will create the agent, which is a little tiny piece of software that says for each of these bots at a certain time or a certain day, I'm going to go ahead and be able to control everything that you're doing from a remote location. Typically, that happens over internet relay chat or an IRC tunnel. So if you're not familiar with that, that's basically like instant messaging on a network. So these agents somehow get installed on each one of these machines. These little bad things get put on these machines, and then they beacon back to this herder. And once they are compromised, we end up calling them a zombie. So it's a zombie that ends up being the infected bot that is part of this bigger botnet. So how would that work? There's the SETI project. So the SETI project is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence that you can actually subscribe to still and give your processing power of your machine up at any time during the day to allow the SETI project to search for extraterrestrial intelligence, right? And it's very similar, where the botnet herder gets these huckleberries, computers that are out there, to join its botnet with the intent that, let's say they have a target that's over here that at a given time they want to take down this target for whatever reason. And I'll give you an example here in a second. So if I have a website or a store of some kind that if I'm a bad guy and I want to take it down, what I would do is I would create a botnet, and from each one of my bots, as I commanded it, at any time over an IRC tunnel, an IRC chat, I would tell it to launch a DOS attack from each one of these machines to take down the target. So collectively or individually, it would be a DOS attack. a denial of service attack. Collectively, then it takes down this machine or website using all of those resources as a DDoS attack, which is a distributed denial of service attack. Each one of these is called a zombie because it's got an agent that it is controlled on each one of these. Why is this important? Well, you may remember a guy named Julian Assange who owned a website called WikiLeaks. Maybe you've never heard of that before, but if you haven't, then this dude publishes stuff on the website that other people choose not to publish, and sometimes it's popular, sometimes it's not. So it's been a little while since this has happened, but he threatened to publish some classified information or some compromising documents about the United States from a few different things. You can go look it up and read it on his website. And he said, on this day, at this time, we're going to publish these articles out there. And so, you know, the anticipation of the world was thinking, okay, this guy's really going to do this at this time? Well, we have to check it out. So, you know, his traffic was going up through the roof at that time. Well, little did he know that some of the people that we teach here at Cyber Protects have technology for the good guys. It's not just used for nefarious reasons, for bad guys to take down websites. Well, guess what? We can take them down too, legally. So conveniently, about an hour before this guy was supposed to go live here on his wikileaks.com or whatever the heck it was called, his website went down. Now, not only was he having probably 40 million people trying to hit his website, but also a bunch of virtual machines, that maybe 100,000 virtual machines that were all running different instances of the bot at different times, taking up a massive amount of CPU. It brought that website down to its knees. So much so that Amazon, who runs Amazon Web Services, which is one of the most robust cloud providers in the world, they said, get your stuff off of our network and go somewhere else because we don't want you on here anymore. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. So in that particular case, that DDoS, that distributed denial of service attack, brought that guy's website down. I think eventually he was still able to post some stuff out there, but in that particular case, that is what happened. So you will absolutely see botnet on your test. You may actually also see the word zombie, which should be equated to a robot network or a botnet. You will not see the word SETI or the search for extraterrestrial intelligence unless you are working for NASA.